Hi guys, we are buying Meta puts ahead of the earnings report. The chart just looks perfect. I mean, the chart looks perfect in every way, but so as the expectations for Meta, they are beyond perfection. So anything less than perfection, just like we've seen with Microsoft, that quarter was perfect. The stock drops, AMD drops, Google drops. I'm not saying it will do it because those stocks drop. Actually, it gives it less of a probability for a drop because Google and Microsoft and AMD have dropped already. But the reason we still want to do this trade is out of all the big name stocks, what used to be the Magnificent Seven, okay, this is the one that can drop by the most. This is the one that could actually surprise in a negative way. And out of all the Magnificent former 7 stocks, this one is capable to move, based on the market capitalization. I mean, it's very rare you see like a 10-20% drop in a company after earnings report, but Facebook has managed to do it multiple times in its history. So if you were to pick a directional trade ahead of earnings report out of the 3 stocks that are reporting today, I would go with this one. I would go with Meta puts over Amazon puts or over Apple puts, which it doesn't mean that we're not buying Apple and Amazon puts as well. What I'm saying, this would be my favorite. If I had to pick one out of the 3, I would go with Meta. Simply based on its history of surprises, because in order to win the game of directional options ahead of buying them ahead of the report, which we will buy them ahead of the report and we will also buy them tomorrow after the report, especially if it bounces, right? So there's always a probability that by the end of tomorrow, Meta will be down. What we don't know for a fact is initially it could bounce. So we're splitting this trade into buying some puts ahead of the earnings and some puts just in the event if we initially will get a bounce. Just kind of like ALGN, right? ALGN was the trade yesterday. We bought some puts ahead of the earnings. We bought some puts after the earnings. ALGN shoots to the moon and then it fucking raises pretty much all the gains for the day. So on the drop, within minutes, shorting it above 300, it goes all the way down to 267. Like if you got the timing right at 9:31 at the open, you shorted it, boom, it's history. You went like fucking 13x within first half an hour. So to make it a little bit more vivid, guys, this is the chart of ALGN. So yesterday, before the report, it trades at 266. It goes all the way to like 315 after hours. And then it sells off back to this level. So it's a round trip. It's like a move 11, okay? So if you stay consistent with the strategy, let's say, okay, you're wrong on the initial reaction. The initial reaction is higher. But if you're consistent on executing your put strategy, you buy at the open, 931, you bought the same amount of money of puts on ALGN, you would have been profitable. You would have had the loss on the options you bought yesterday, but your win today on those puts would have been fucking exceptional. So the question you may be asking, well, Leo, why not just fucking wait? Okay, why not just wait on Meta? Again, the reason why we took a shot at ALGN's got a history of major gap downs after the earnings report, and considering it has run up, okay, it had a high probability of a gap down. Okay, it didn't happen. We still fucking turned it into a highly profitable trade. But on Meta, okay, it has not had a surprise to the downside in a long time. So this could be overdue, right? At the very moment where expectations are just so fucking high, at the very moment where the chart looks just so perfect, but yet here at 13 Market Moves, we can clearly see signs of early deterioration. So we don't want to be shorting something like, look at this part of the chart, right? Or it's just clearly it's deteriorating fast. But we think we can easily see that evolving on Meta over the next few days. Now, if you look at the option chain, you may think that I'm fucking crazy because it is clearly like call options on Meta like 3-to-1 as far as the ratio when it comes to puts. I mean, they're buying the fuck out of puts on Meta. But So were they buying a ton of fucking puts on Microsoft and AMD and Google? So don't let, like, at times I've made videos in the past where I said, look, the chart just looks so ugly, it's time to buy it. Well, in this case, the chart is just so fucking perfect that it's time to short it. And sometimes you don't need to make things more complicated than this. All you need to know as far as the context, that something actually has the capacity to make an outsized move, which is what you need if you're buying options ahead of the earnings report. So basically knowing the history of Facebook, yeah, back then, some of the wild moves, if you don't remember, it used to be ticker FB, when it drops like from 210 down to 150 overnight, literally that's a 25% drop, which is like fucking unheard of. But don't miss the next video on a stock that I think is actually gonna make that 20-25% possible move overnight, and it actually has no history of making that big of a fucking drop. So a lot of market participants could be completely caught off guard on that one. And on this one, the only one, guys, I'm just gonna, I'll just reveal it in the next video, guys. So if you're new, subscribe. If you want to know how exactly we're trading at 13 market moves, go to 13mmtv.com, okay, and schedule a call with a coach right now. We're posting this video before the earnings come out, so you got plenty of time to pull the trigger on this one if you really wanted to. So let's roll. Big potential trade on Meta drop. Let's fucking do it.